Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another chapter on the road to Resident Evil Village. A couple days ago, I finished Resident Evil 6. It's the longest game in the franchise to date, and it exceeded both my expectations and my initial impressions of the game. So, originally, I played the Leon campaign a while ago, and it didn't really impress me that much. I thought the game lacked a lot of stuff that the previous Resident Evils had, and overall, I was pretty turned off during that campaign. But I decided to, pick it up again, finish it, because I wanted to see the full story, and I had a lot of fun. I thought it was a great game. I thought had a lot of great moments and a lot of great mechanics that I overlooked during my Leon campaign, which I'm going to talk about right now. Share my thoughts about Resident Evil 6, why I liked it, and some of the things I didn't like too, because there are a lot of those too. It's not a perfect game by any means, but it's still good and it's still a fun experience in the overall Resident Evil story. So the story of Resident Evil 6 is divided in four different campaigns that kind of share some sections. So the first one is Leon and Helena Harper. The second one is Chris and Pierce, a new character. Then we have Sherry Birkin and Jake Mueller, which is Albert Wesker's son. Spoilers, slight spoilers. Well, yeah, let's go just full spoilers from here. Screw it. And well, yeah, the fourth one is Ada Wong. And these four campaigns, each one covers different aspects of the story that I didn't see in the other chapters. So it's actually pretty fun to go through all of them. And it's not like one of those games. I mean, it's technically the same story, but it's not one of those games that you have to play the same thing over again, near Automata, to get to the whole full content of the game. So this is actually like a pretty balanced in that term. Like you can have like different aspects, but still enjoy the same story from different points of view. And starting with the Leon campaign, I thought that was like the most underwhelming campaign, and also was the longest. Like each chapter took like an hour and a half to complete. But the other ones are pretty much better, I think. So the main story is about a bioterrorist that kind of has this plot to destroy the world. This really convoluted plot that involves like an Ada Wong clone and like blaming her for destroying the world and turning everybody into mutants. And the story is pretty complex, but I enjoyed it. I think it's the most detailed Resident Evil story till date, and I liked it. I thought it was good. And every character shines in every way. Like I think every single character that you play as is pretty entertaining. They're pretty fun to play. They have great lines, great stories, great personalities to them. They're pretty like well-rounded characters. And that's something that I liked about, Resident Evil in general, are the characters, especially, like Ada Wong, I think she's one of my favorite characters in the whole franchise. Leon Kennedy, which is also great. Chris, I mean, just pretty much everybody. Even Jake and Sherry, which I'm not as familiar with. It was great to know him. I was really like, my expectations with them were surpassed in this game. And yeah, overall that makes the game way more enjoyable compared to others. Like it can have like the weirdest gameplay and the story, but it has great characters. It makes up for a lot of things. So let me talk now about some of the gameplay aspects. I think Resident Evil 6 is a massive downgrade from Resident Evil 5. Resident Evil 5 was worse than Resident Evil 4, and now Resident Evil 6 was worse than 5 in the gameplay. Like they pretty much get rid of the whole inventory kind of like management system. Like Resident Evil 4 shined. Resident Evil 5 was kind of a downgrade, but it was still decent. This one kind of like, with the shooting, feels more clean, but it's also like it doesn't feel that much like as a kind of like pseudo RPG. It's more like a straight up shooter, like Call of Duty, or I don't know, like any other shooter. I thought it was not that wasn't that great. I thought it was kind of lose like all the survival horror aspects that make Resident Evil 4 and the old ones like so great, because that's one of the best things about Resident Evil and games like The Evil Within. Kind of like those games shine because of even Resident Evil 7 like has that survival horror aspect. Like you gotta take care of your weapons, you gotta count your ammo, you can't just go run into a dangerous situation, you gotta hide, you gotta be careful with your decisions. That kind of like just throws it out the window, and it's basically a full-on shooter, which, it's okay if you like those kind of games. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a great shooter, but it's also like, like I think the survival horror aspect is important to Resident Evil. Another thing I didn't like about Resident Evil 6 was the skill point system. I thought it was a big joke. Like, you get only three slots to put, like, skill points in. So you got slot one, slot two, slot three, and you can only choose three. And they're crazy expensive. Like, the skill slots, like, the skill you can repurchase, or pretty much take several chapters to buy at least one. So like you're only left with choosing three in the beginning of the game and just sticking with those till the very end. So I thought that was a really stupid mechanic. It shouldn't have been put in there. And honestly, you're pretty much better off. Like, it doesn't really change much. It's only like a couple point increase. Like, oh, you get faster reloading. It's really just something unnecessary, which is not big of a deal. But I thought that it was the game would have been better off without that system. Overall, the environments, the characters, the enemies are amazing. I thought like it always like Resident Evil always shines with its enemies and characters and the monsters you have to defeat. This one has a wide variety of monsters, everything from giant snakes to giant sharks to pretty much giant monsters everywhere, and that's always great. It's always great to blast through these enemies and yeah, like have a lot of fun, like classic Resident Evil fun, even if it's like more shooter oriented. I thought it was good. But yeah, overall, Resident Evil 6 was a good experience. Not as great as the other Resident Evils. I thought it was kind of experimental. It was like Capcom just went, let's try to make it a little bit more shootery, make it more mainstream, see what happens. And it was a weird experiment that kind of worked in some areas, but also failed in some others. But I still enjoyed it. I thought it was a good chapter, and I enjoyed my time with Resident Evil 6. And I would recommend it, honestly. I think it shouldn't be skipped while playing these games. But yeah, overall, I think it's gonna get a 78 out of 100. I liked it. I enjoyed my time with it, and that's pretty much everything I have to say about this game. I can't wait to play the next two. Resident Evil 7 is one of my favorite experiences of all time. An amazing game in every way, and obviously Village, with just coming out this year, is going to be such a good experience for me. But yeah, I love Resident Evil, great franchise, great characters, and that's it. See you guys next time.